now, everyone. Welcome back to our post E3 Budacast. This is your host, Matt Haywood, as always, holding it down with three of the dudes from Entertainment Buddha tonight. So our last podcast was just Ann and I, and this was our pre-E3 podcast. So obviously E3 has taken place. Ann and I were on hand for the show. We started with Bethesda's press conference live from the Dolby Theater Sunday evening, and then hit up Microsoft's presser in the morning, and then Sony's in the evening. And we may have been a little drunk at Sony's because they know how to throw a press event. So those of you that have only watched from home, you know why people scream so much at the Sony presser? It's because they're fucking hammered, okay? Sony liquors you up for 2 hours before the event begins and gives you free food truck food, which is badass. But that's usually why the crowd is a little more loopier during the Sony event. So anyways, we're going to kind of sit around and wrap this year's E3. We're going to put E3 2015 to bed not even a week after it ended, because that's how we roll. We're efficient like that. So joining me this evening on this cast to break down E3, we've got the illustrious Raymond Pareca III. Ray, how's it going, buddy?
It's going good. I'm glad to be back.
Awesome. We also have good old Keith Mathias over there in Maryland. How's it going, Keith?
Going very well. Also glad to be back.
Awesome. I'm glad you guys are back. I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, we have the co-host, the creator of the Puntcast, Mr. Nick Hershey-Kiss. How's it going, Nick?
Going good. All
right, awesome.
I'm also happy to be here.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad you guys are happy to be here, and I'm not dragging you here against your will, because I'm sure we'd all like to be playing games right now. I know I've got a game that starts with a B and ends with an N. I'd like to continue on the PS4, but that's all right, because I like talking to you motherfuckers even better. So let's get right down to it, guys. So just real general impressions of E3 2015. I honestly thought, as far as the press event day went, it was a pretty overall good day. I really think Microsoft, for the first time in really since I've been going to E3, so this is my fourth one, really finally put on a great show to kind of kick things off. I mean, they did. Kinect was nowhere to be found. They sprinkled in a good mix of games coming out, game reveals, software functionality for the Xbox One, and a badass $150 Xbox One Elite controller. So I like their mix of products. And then I did not get to see EA and Ubisoft, so fuck them. And then on to Sony. Again, it was a fantastic show. Like I said, Sony always does a good job. I think they cheat a little bit with the free booze, but I'm not going to turn down free beer when I can get it. And it definitely was a great show, and you cannot deny the feelings of nostalgia that probably washed over your body when you saw not only The Last Guardian reveal, but a Final Fantasy VII HD remake, finally, and the cheap-ass Shenmue 3 Kickstarter, which is a load of shit, but hey, people funded it in 9 hours. I guess we can now look to fund AAA development studio games from here on out. So, guys, overall, I think it was a great press day, and then just, the show floor got even better once I was able to get my hands on some of this stuff. So, overall, I thought E3 2015 was probably one of the best I've been to since I've gone. How about you guys? Not that you were there, but what'd you think, overall?
It was pretty good. I don't know. I think we shouldn't give anyone, praise for not having Kinect stuff there, because that shouldn't be a good job, I don't think, because that was just a stupid piece of hardware. So
I still use mine each and every time I turn my Xbox on and off, though.
There you go. Then you probably should have hoped it was.
It is the best on and off device out there. Although the PS4 does it now too. I don't know if anyone's ever tried it, but you can turn it off with your voice at least.
Oh no, I had no idea.
Yeah, if you have the camera plugged in, it's essentially a Kinect for the PS4. So.
Yeah, but does anyone have the camera?
I do, because I'm an asshole.
Damn it. No, otherwise I thought it was a really good show. I was impressed by a lot of stuff, and for the first time I feel like there wasn't a lot. I was super just God damn, E3 is hot marketing garbage. I mean, it is, I guess, but there was a lot of really good stuff and a lot of stuff that made me just feel happy about games. So I guess that's ultimately what's really important.
Yeah, well, that's if you could lift your head up from the keyboard, because those you don't know, Ray is the second in command. He's my lieutenant general, And every year at E3, because he's not out there, he kind of does what we call Hell Day, which is the Monday of the show week, which is usually when you're going to get probably, 50 trailers or more and plenty of shit to write about. So he went essentially from noon till midnight that day. So everyone give him a digital round of applause.
Thank you.
I look like a retarded seal right now, but hey.
I got sick at E3 without even going.
Fantastic. At least you're not like some of these other pussies that are bitching about the E3 flu. I don't have the fucking flu because I am impervious to bacteria and virus. And tomorrow I will easily get HIV now after saying that. So. How about you guys? Nick Hershey, I know you're not a huge gamer. I mean, did you get into it at all? Did anything interest you? I mean, what did you think about the show in general before we get into our favorite moments or reveals?
Yeah, I mean, this year was the first year that I paid close attention to as much as I could. I was following the streams online. I was watching Microsoft and PlayStation and Sony. So I thought it was really interesting. I never thought I'd want to be at one of those events because, like you said, I'm not as huge of a gamer as you guys are. But after seeing that stuff and some of your pictures and stories and stuff, it seems like it would be really cool to go to, even as a casual gamer.
Well, I mean, I know you're a music lover, so if anything, having the chance to go to the wargaming.net party would be worth it, because that shit is insane. Those motherfuckers know how to throw a party. I mean, they've knocked it out of the park every year I've gone to one of those things.
All right, I'm down for that.
I mean, if you like EDM music, which I kind of get into, it's not like I have a Spotify station dedicated to it, but I guess they brought this...
Just the Pandora.
Yeah, you know, they brought this group in called Galantis, so I guess it's fairly well known. They are like the headliners, and they had warm-up acts, and I mean, I still got my laser gun here they were passing out. They had like lightsabers. It was fucking insane. I mean, Anna and I were doing the Jersey fist pump like mad motherfuckers there, and I sweat through 2 shirts, so yeah, it was awesome. How about you, Keith? What'd you think of the show in general? Was it positive outlook on gaming, or were you like, meh?
No, definitely a positive outlook on gaming. I think this was probably the best overall show that they've had since, I want to say 2013, I guess, when sort of we were right before the launch of the PS4 and the Xbox One. And that show was all about oh my god, this hardware and all these new games are going to be so cool. Yeah, and they're I got really excited because of that. And then this year was sort of okay. I've had these boxes for 2 years now. What are the games that I should actually be excited about?
Yeah, no shit, right? I was glad for the first time. The 360 and PS3 were essentially ignored.
Yes.
Which means developers are finally, and publishers for that matter, are finally into this generation 100% for the most part.
Yeah, that's pretty much exactly how I'm feeling.
All right, so it sounds like we were all we all reacted fairly positively to this E3. So I think we're kind of all on the same wavelength. So now let's kind of shift the discussion to, I mean, you don't have to come up with 3, but, 2 or 3 of the most impressive announcements, reveals, games, whatever you want to talk about. And I'm ready, so I'm going to go ahead and start with myself because I'm an asshole like that. I thought one of the most impressive things, and this is just because I like the business side of the gaming industry, is that somehow Sony managed to steal the COD exclusive content first deal from Microsoft. I mean, I thought Microsoft would have that shit locked down for life. I mean, we all know they have plenty of cash. So does Sony, but I figured this was a done deal. Microsoft was always going to get COD DLC first, this, that, and the other thing, but then you go to the Sony press event, and bam, towards the end, they're like, oh yeah, by the way, the PS4 is the new home for Call of Duty content first. So that was an impressive business move on Sony's part, in my opinion.
Word up.
Holla. So, no comments on that one. All right, awesome.
I mean... I didn't even know that happened.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
If I cared more about Call of Duty, maybe that would have,
yeah, I mean, I get
me
it.
one way or another, but...
We've all made it clear that COD, we're not diehard fanboys anymore, but if you think about the importance of the franchise to gaming, especially the young teen
sure.
males and the esports guys, I mean, it's a franchise that is repetitive as hell. I mean, it's every year we get a new game, but every year it sells millions and millions and millions. So the fact that Sony may be able to, for someone like me that owns both consoles, if I was a huge COD fan, I'm probably going to take Black Ops 3 on the PS4 over the Xbox One. So it was a big business move.
Do they announce like what the contract specifics are?
It's the same as Microsoft's essentially. Any DLC they will get at least, it's typically 6 weeks, sometimes 2 months in advance of the other consoles.
I thought it was just 30 days. I could be wrong. So
it's been maybe 4 to 6 weeks. I might be going a little high with 8, but it's definitely long enough that if you were a diehard fan, you'd probably be like, yeah, fuck it, I'm gonna go on this other console so I can get it before my friend Tommy gets it. That type of shit.
Yeah, I hate Tommy.
Fucking Tommy, tough guy.
Screw that guy.
So yeah, big move on the business side. I mean, the game, whatever, it looked cool. I played some multiplayer, but I thought the whole Sony stealing the deal was even more impressive than the game itself. So how about let's go with Keith. What's one of your highlights from the show?
Unraveled.
Okay, good, because I did not see shit on this game because was this an Ubisoft or EA?
EA.
EA.
So go ahead, break that down.
Okay, I am. All right. I guess it's a puzzle platformer featuring this little yarn creature that looks kind of like a walking cat type thing. I don't know. And like as you move around, your yarn unravels, and you can like hook stuff onto it and like swing and use it to solve puzzles. And it looks awesome. It looks gorgeous. The dude who was presenting it was like visibly shaking because he was so nervous and excited to be up on stage at E3.
Right.
That it was like the sweetest, happiest, most like video games are fantastic moment of the whole show for me.
Do you know, is it just like an indie guy, or is he part of a larger studio? I mean, where's this game coming from?
God, Coldwood?
I think he's an independent developer. I'm trying to remember now.
I think he's from like this little studio out of like Sweden or Norway or something. Hang on a second.
All I know is that the character himself was a big draw at the Hotel Fig, which is like the secret, party place at E3. Because I mean, I saw Brian Shea was making out with it. Max Parker from
Sweden.
Max Parker from the Post Gazette was making out with him at the Hotel Fig. So I'm assuming the developer was there with the little Unraveled guy.
Matt just outed some journalists there. That, you know.
Yeah. Well, they put it on like Instagram making out with it, so I think it's Max. It's Max's profile pic at this point. So hey, it is what it is. Shea went with the player style wargaming backdrop picture with his sports jacket. I saw at the party.
So it's the every year after E3 Brian Shea profile pic.
I mean, Shea is definitely a sharp dressed man. I'm not busting his balls, but I kind of am. But he walked in this party. All right, it's an EDM party, and he's wearing his sports coat and jeans, looking like a player. I was like, dude. That's gonna get hot as fuck in here, but hey.
That's like that Game Informer swagger, dude. That's big media, baby.
The funny thing is, though, like you go to like Tim Turry, and he's just wearing flannels every day, or Ben Reeves, or not. What's the Ben with the curly hair? Ben Hansen, maybe. He's wearing like t-shirts. So that's just Shea's style. Like I said, he's a sharp dressed dude.
Classy man.
Yeah, Max Parker, same way. I mean, he'll wear ties and sports jackets and all that.
Yeah, Max was rocking the sport coat all E3 2014. That was cracking.
Yeah, man, he's got some slick ass white shoes too, like white loafers. So that's not for me, but hey, that's because I'm short and fat, so I don't go for styles. All right,
but Unravel.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looked cool.
Yeah, dude, I am a sucker for like sweet puzzle platformers. And I think that's one reason why I gravitated so hard to Ori and the Blind Forest. And the notion, and it Unraveled kind of looks a little bit like Little Big Planet, which I like a lot, but have never like really gotten into. So I don't know. Maybe this might be like the moment of taking that sort of aesthetic and really diving into it.
Speaking of LBP, I saw Sackboy was trolling the Microsoft booth at E3. It was kind of funny. They were like parading around Sackboy and that little fat donut-looking dude and the other characters. Nice. All right, cool. How about you, Mr. Ray? What was your big winner, the game that really got your nipples hard?
I would like to go on the record and remind everyone that I called Shenmue 3 happening back in May. I knew it was going to happen.
Ooh, yeah.
I had that feeling.
He is a Gamer Force user, by the way, everyone.
But that was a really important moment, I guess, for me, just as, a fan that I've wanted that game to happen for a long time. But I think the real number one standout for me is knowing that we're getting another Nier game. Nier is probably my favorite PlayStation 3 generation game. Easily top 5 games I've ever played. I think that was like the first game I ever tried to write or think critically about and write. That's a game that's very close to my heart, and knowing that not only are we getting a new one, but that Platinum Games is going to be developing it with Square Enix.
I was going to say, that's a Square title, right? Or Square published title.
Yeah, Square publishes it, and Platinum's developing it. And so, I'm haven't processed how cool that really is yet, because I'm very, very, very excited. So.
Cool. No, I like this, because like I said, some of these games, especially on Tuesday when I know Square did a show, and I think someone else, I didn't really get to see him outside. Email come across my phone. I'd be like, all right, slide it to Ray. He'll figure it out. So, yeah, awesome. All right, how about you, Mr. Hershey?
I know what's coming.
too, but let's hear it.
Horizon Zero Dawn. That's
oh yeah.
When Sony and Guerrilla Games announced that, I was watching the stream as it happened, and I was like, man, the graphics look incredible. The whole theory behind it, or the whole story behind it, intrigues me. And basically, you're just nailing down these giant robot dinosaurs. And I mean, what's not to love about that, right?
No, I fully agree with you. If we're talking about my favorite new IP of the show, it's Horizon right there. I mean, I'm a fan of Guerrilla Games anyways. I've really loved the Killzone franchise. It did look amazing. I've been describing it as kind of like the Mad Max world meets Terminator, because you got this post-apocalyptic setting, but there's still technology, and the machines have kind of taken over as the dominant race.
Yeah.
Although they seem to have some sort of organics going on, so.
Did any of you guys play Enslaved?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it definitely has that
right?
feel for sure, right?
For sure, which is a great. I think that's a as far as games go, that's a pretty good setting feel.
It's
for
like there's
so.
some sort of a wasteland, but there's still this technology that's been hanging around, and it's almost organic in nature at this point in time. So, I think it looks great, and I'm assuming the girl's going to be the lead character, which is always big in gaming. I mean, at Entertainment Buddha, we really don't dwell on that type of bullshit, but I know it's important to some gamers, so it's female leads.
It's like Ray and I were talking about it after it was announced. It's basically you get to be Grit from Game of Thrones and just slay giant dinosaur robots.
Oh, yeah, good point. The good old fire crotch.
Yeah.
I just watched a movie with her in it the other day. It was pretty good. It's called Honeymoon. It's on Netflix. You guys, it's pretty cool. You can check that out.
I saw her in something else recently, too. I think it was like a TV show or whatever. She was good.
Yeah, she had a really bad American accent, though, man. It was rough.
Well, I forget what Jim said, but she's like from that part of the country where they got that real strong. I don't know if she's Welsh or whatever, but they got that.
I think she speaks pikey.
Yeah, right? There you go.
Stags.
Okay, so
we'll
we'll do round 2 on our second most impressive thing. Again, the whole COD thing really wasn't something I got a boner over, but I just thought it was an impressive move. I think as far as like boners, and this is this just goes back to me being in high school and gaming. I've been gaming my whole life, but it's hard to not get super excited about Final Fantasy VII Remake. I mean, let's get real. I mean, I wouldn't say I cried. I had a good tweet afterwards. I mean, my nipples really were hard because of the goosebumps. There was a wave of emotion, lots of nostalgia going on. Because, I mean, this is something I think diehard fans of that game in particular have been wanting ever since we got better graphics than the PS1. And while I can admit that the game isn't as special as it was the first time I played it back in 1997, I mean, if you do go back and replay it, it's very dated, but again, I mean, we're talking about, it's almost a 20-year-old game at this point. So yes, it is going to look outdated, and it's probably going to have some outdated controls. But in terms of story, characters, the materia system, it's still my favorite Final Fantasy of all time. And the fact that they're finally going to bring it into the modern era of gaming it's awesome. I mean, we don't know dates aren't even close. I doubt it even comes out in 2016.
No, it'll be 2017. I think they're rebuilding from ground up, like, planning, I think, on changing a lot of things or modernizing.
Yeah, he always said they would not do a full-on remake until they knew they could make it even better. This is like, I guess, a hot take on it, like
I
a
guess,
re-envisioning almost of.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I hope they don't change too much of the core story, because
they said Cloud's still gonna cross-dress. So frankly, that is all I really care.
That's one of my
Don Cornello,
one of my favorite missions right there. Trying to get the dudes to fall in love with a dude.
Yeah, well, Cloud was a pretty boy, so.
Cloud he's an interesting character. He is.
Oh, he is. He's the worst and the best.
Right? I mean, wasn't he essentially just like a lying slob that sucked at everything, but
he
got injected with some Genova sperm and, became a replica Zack or whatever?
Oh man, we could go.
I know, dude. I would love to. Maybe we'll save it for a Final Fantasy VII /
Yeah, we could do Final Fantasy
Crisis
VII spoiler
course.
cast.
Yes, please. So I'll add that to the to-do list. But anyways, that's my second pick of one of the most impressive things from the show. It was, and like I said, the LA Sports Arena just went fucking ape shit when that was announced. And when it first came on screen, people were kind of like, hushed and whispering like, "Oh, what's that? Is that Midgar? Holy shit, it's Midgar! Oh my god!" I mean, it was fun to be there. So that's me. Let's go back to Nick this time. What was do you have a second most impressive thing, or did you blow your load on Horizon?
I was excited to see a new South Park game, to be honest.
Yes, and the title was amazing.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
The Fractured Butthole.
Yeah. I loved Stick of Truth. I thought it was great, and then the trailer I thought was hilarious when they basically made fun of Stick of Truth, saying like, "Oh, it was a stupid RPG game, and this one's gonna be better." And then I mean, those, Matt Stone and Trey Parker are geniuses, and
good call on that. I completely forgot that's an Ubisoft published title, correct?
I think so.
Yeah. But just it's Ubi. The title alone just shows you they're pure genius, because it's not spelled, butthole. It's Butwhole. It's
right.
A fantastic play on words. What's that, Ray? A double entendre or something like that?
Yeah.
I mean, or Keith, you guys are the
double entendre,
right? The whole butthole, right?
Hey, portmanteau.
There you go. We
I
defer
think that
to.
One?
Yeah.
I think it's that one.
All right, so we defer to Keith, who is our master of literature here.
Oh God! Now you're just calling me out, and I'm gonna look stupid when I'm wrong.
Portmanteau, consisting of or combining two or more separable aspects or qualities.
I think I've never even heard that, so I'm running with it. It sounds fucking fantastic and super smart. So let's.
Yeah, it's canon now.
Right,
it just happened.
That should be your new screen name, Ray. Portmanteau, or like if you were a Jedi,
Portmanteau.
Yeah, your Jedi could be Portmanteau or whatever the fuck it is. All right.
No, my alter ego is Kirk Propane. I've been waiting to bring that one out for Halloween.
Ray always does have some classic handles. He also has the Wu-Tang Clan, which is another classic.
Ray, how many people followed you on Twitter thinking just because they put in the M instead of the N?
I get people hitting, I don't use that very often. I still have that handle just because I want to hold on to that forever. But I get hit up pretty often. Yeah, people send me their mixtapes. Pretty dope.
Awesome, dude. Well, when you drop a cut, let us know. We'll try to make some cash on it. All right, good call on that. Everyone loves buttholes. How about you, Keith? What's another thing?
Well, one, to go back to yours with the Final Fantasy VII, I'm just pumped on seeing how many people rage about Sephiroth with the Final Fantasy VII remake, because everybody loves to complain about Sephiroth. I thought he was awesome, but
he's better than Cujo. Cujo?
I didn't mind him. He's just like, to me, he is the epitome of a JRPG bad boy.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, he.
But is he even the bad guy, or is it all Genova guys?
Yeah, right. Genova kind of worked him over and poisoned him. Yeah.
I don't know. Anywho, that's one
Damn
thing.
you, Genova.
But I don't know, man. I think The Last Guardian might be one for
you
me.
guys are stealing all my emotional moments.
All right, so that is a franchise I have. I actually have, what is it, Shadow of the Colossus and Ico sitting on my PS3 still because they were free at one point in time.
Yeah.
And I've heard everyone talk about how amazing they are, and I'm not discounting that. It's just a franchise I've never fired up and gotten into. So while I was happy for people that did enjoy the franchise, I was watching this like, man, that's a big-ass, fucked-up-looking rat, possum, ferret thing with some dumbass little Asian kid going, oh, I mean, it sounded like Nintendo a little bit.
But how good were those animations for him going down the stairs?
Yeah, no, I mean, dude, it
best.
looked fantastic. Yeah. But I mean, the Guardian was really odd looking. But I mean, again, I think that plays into the style of the franchise. So go ahead and expand on that a little, Keith. If you
It's just I actually have not really played much Shadow of the Colossus, I'm a huge fan of Ico, and I love that just sort of isolated, like, you're stuck with one other person or being or whatever in this huge, gorgeous castle, and you have to find your way out or, do whatever the heck it is that you're doing. And I don't know, it's really cool. It's a very interesting conceit, and
how are all these
I like
games
playing with
tied together? Is it a character that ties them together?
Tangentially at best.
Yeah.
It's just like same
it's
universe then?
developer.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's about it.
It
As
is.
far as I know.
You could get theoretical and, oh, this happens or this is implied. So Ico and Shadow of the Colossus are the same universe, but it's,
Gotcha.
conjecture at best. It's a portmanteau. Of ideas.
Fucking portmanteau.
How long in between games was it? Because this one was kind of like been talked about for a while, right?
It's got to be at least 10 years,
Oh my god,
right?
yeah.
Shadow of the Colossus was 2005.
Yeah, it was
maybe?
early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And then
10,
Eco was
I
like
think.
2001.
Yeah, Ico was early
Mhm.
2000s.
Yeah, because it was still on the like CD-ROM disc, PS2.
Oh,
PS2.
was it a blueback
yes,
one?
Yes,
Really?
it was.
Wow.
Huh. You guys notice how I Americanized that game's title, right? I call it-
Ico.
It's Ico. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's how I was originally introduced to it. Back when Toonami video game reviews.
Oh wow.
That's how I first heard about it.
Awesome.
Did you watch Zoids as well?
Yes, I did.
Dude, Zoids is the best, right?
When I think of Zoid, I think about that Domino's character they used to have. When he called like
The Noid.
That's the
Yeah,
Noid.
Noid. All right. I was gonna say you guys may be too young for that, but yeah, the Noid. He even had a video game, I believe, on the NES. That's how
Yep.
popular.
Can't Stop Mr. Domino.
It was like literally called like Noid something. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
The Noid. I mean, he had like he looked like he had like bunny ears, right, and like a red
Mhm.
jumpsuit and mask. Yeah. Brilliant marketing back then. Now they just jam like hot dogs into their pizzas and shit, and they're good. No, that's Pizza Hut. I do want to eat one of those. I'm not gonna lie.
Actually, yeah, I saw a picture of that. I'm interested.
Right? I mean, just
Right.
pizza with hot dogs in the crust. I mean, come on.
Everyone
Everyone loves a pig in a blanket.
That's like the Little Caesars with bacon as the crust.
Oh my, that looks just like death. But yeah, I agree. I'd definitely get in on some of that, especially after a night of drinking. Which Anna, her husband Nick, and we had a great drunk McDonald's night after wargaming party. That's always a fun time. I woke up literally sitting up in my bed with a chicken nugget on the fold of my stomach and my iPad still on with Marvel Mighty Heroes open. I was like, yeah, it was a good night. Good night. Now I'm going to go back to bed so I don't feel like shit in the morning. But yeah, it was fun. All right, Ray, let's move on to your second pick, buddy, if we didn't steal them all. I know there's probably some eclectic release out there that you picked up on or announcement.
You know, I would love. I'm thrilled about Final Fantasy VII for so many different reasons. I'm not going to belabor that point. I was very stoked on the new Deus Ex, Mankind Divided.
Okay, yeah, Anna got to go to that appointment, so I did not get to see that demo, but I heard it's pretty rad.
Yeah, I like, I like the first Deus Ex. Human Revolution is pretty fun. And everything I've seen or that they showed of Mankind Divided looks pretty sick. I like that the developers are not shy of using the phrase mechanical apartheid, despite some people telling them that they should not be allowed to do
dude,
that.
there's so many stupid things
So
in this
support
industry now.
I support the developers standing by their original design choice, because I think if video games want to grow as an art form and tell important stories, then they should be allowed to talk about or allude to important things that happen in our own society and history. So
True that.
plus being a freaking cyborg is always a really good time.
Yeah, I was gonna
so.
say, I love the look of that world. I mean,
Yeah, it is,
Adam's fucking
it's-
outfit, or I guess it's his body at this point in time. Is just, I mean, that's exactly what I'd want to look like if I could look like.
Oh,
a
I
video
would do
game
that in a
character.
heartbeat if they offered me that chance. I'd be like, yeah, leave my face and robot.
Well,
me
you
up.
got
Let's go.
that jet black slicked hair, so you could definitely do
Yeah.
that. Grow a little beard and wear some glasses. You're good to go. You need the Morpheus glasses though, that just like attach on your nose,
Yeah.
right? They're not like full on brimmed glasses.
Yeah, he's got like the baseball player angled sunglasses. I don't
Oh
know
yeah,
how
like
they stay
the
on
like
his
the old
face.
school Oakleys that like flare out all the way towards your
Yeah.
ear. Big time.
Get those Men in Black predators.
Big time. All right, cool. Well, let's go ahead and do our last round of favorites. I'll go ahead and kick it off again, and this one, not really a game, and I really don't know how much it'll be used in gaming, but I can tell you right now, Microsoft's HoloLens is the baddest ass piece of technology I have used to date. And I am a fucking tech head. I've got everything you can think. I've got Macs. I've got
He has
Windows.
the PlayStation camera.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. That proves my dedication to technology. So when I saw this thing during the Microsoft press event and they're doing the Minecraft demo for it, I'm like, this is staged bullshit, whatever. It doesn't look that good. There's no way you can have augmented reality holograms like that without using some sort of trickery. So I was being cynical, and then the day after, I actually got to go to the Halo 5 Warzone demo, which had a HoloLens introduction piece to it. So I actually got to put it on. And what they did, they built this. I mean, if you've ever been to E3, it's insane how much money they probably spend to build these sets. I mean, they essentially built a bridge of a UNSC spaceship. And you walk in, you have to get your fucking pupils measured. I mean, this shit is serious type of technology. So I got my pupils measured, slapped on my headset, and they're like, all right, get up and look for the waypoint. So just like you would if you were Master Chief in your helmet, I turn my head, and sure enough, there's a fucking blue little diamond in my field of vision. In the real world. Again, this isn't Oculus Rift. It's not virtual reality. It's augmented. So I see it. I start walking towards it. I get to it. It's like, hey, now turn left. Now it's like, look out the window. Of course, there was not a window, but through the HoloLens, I saw a bustling docking bay of the ship. And then we got around the command room table. So imagine Avatar when they're planning their attack on the home tree or whatever the fuck it is called, and they're looking at these holographic projections of the topography and whatnot. That's exactly what I saw. And it's the year 2015, and I was just wearing a HoloLens headset. So I was literally blown away by the technology. I mean, it is holograms in our time, sci-fi movie shit happening. Like I said, I don't know how they're going to incorporate it into gaming because it's not a virtual environment like the Oculus. It's augmented, but I'm getting one. I don't care when they come out. I don't care how much they cost. I don't care if there's only one application for it and it goes to hell like the Kinect. This thing blew my socks off. I mean, it was very impressive, very futuristic, and this is where Microsoft can shine with their money and just their experience in the tech industry. So here's the HoloLens. Believe in the hype, people. What you saw with Minecraft is legit.
Yeah, I was watching that stream, and the biggest thing that caught my attention was as the demonstrator walked around the table, it stayed put. It didn't move with him no matter where he was.
Exactly, that's a good
stayed
point.
Connected right to where it was supposed to be.
The image is always static. You can position you can walk around the room. The only thing that will break the illusion, there's a very defined area in the glasses that if you look away, obviously the hologram will disappear, but as long as you keep that centered, and it's not like you're balancing to keep it centered. I mean, it's pretty damn solid, and you're not not going to see the image unless you purposely try to look underneath the glasses. So yeah, I mean, it's it's amazing. Like I said, I don't know if it'll ever be used for games. I don't really care. I just know this thing is going to change some industry. I mean, education, design, architecture. I mean, it's just nuts what they've crafted. And like I said, it felt like it was from 100 years from now.
Nice.
So kudos to that. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
No comments from the peanut gallery, so I guess we'll move on to, let's go right back to Ray this time for your final, most impressive part of E3 2015.
Let's see. You know what? I was really feeling Mother Russia Bleeds.
What the
I don't know
what
if
the
you guys
fuck is
saw
that?
that.
There, I knew he was good for something. That was like, what?
It's Devolver Digital is publishing it. It's like a pixel art, retro styled beat 'em up, but it is like brutal looking. Like the reveal trailer has, it's like 40 seconds of a dude just beating the shit out of big fat like neo-Nazi looking guys with pig masks and whatnot, and I like the idea of just playing a no bullshit kind of beat 'em up again, and that game looks super sick. So
Devolver's definitely known for publishing those types of titles. So.
Yeah, they're the best publisher in the industry. I'll go out and say it right away.
Speaking of like kind of a random under the radar game that I think Ray will like, it's the Technomancer from Spiders.
Yeah, is Spiders
Yeah,
doing
dude.
that, right?
I wish
Yeah.
you could have been at the appointment because I mean you would have loved these guys. Those
Dude,
guys
I
and the
back
Larian
Spiders,
dudes are
yeah.
badass. I mean,
They are like the best at just like not making the best game
Yeah.
in the world, but like putting their balls into making one. Yeah, they put their
dude,
heart
I mean,
in every game.
the combat looks just like Bound by Flame, and I'm like, fuck it,
Yeah.
I'm gonna love it. Even though Bound by Flame was like, God, this is kind of bad, but I played through the whole damn thing. But this one, it's set on the same universe as Mars Warlogs.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Okay.
So this is the game
That's
they
cool.
wanted to make back then, but they were so new that they could only afford to do Mars. So this is the actual full fleshing out of that universe. So
Yeah, I've been kind of half paying attention to Technomancer as it.
I
kinda
forgot
moves
about
along.
until Tom sent out the what focus was going to be shown at the show. I was like, yeah, I'll go check
Yeah.
that out. And then, like I said, Divinity, they had like this medieval tent set up. As soon as I walk in, they're like, yo, you want a Belgian beer? I'm like, that's 3 o'clock.
Goddamn right I
Yeah,
do.
it's 3 o'clock, and I still have a couple more appointments. But fucking hey, sure. Awesome. Yeah, that's a good call. I knew Ray would dig up a kind of a hidden gem. All right, Nick, last one. What's your last most impressive thing from E3?
I don't know if it would be filed under impressive, but I'm excited for Assassin's Creed Syndicate. So
E3 and what they showed got you a little more on board with it.
yeah, and I still haven't played Unity, so I haven't been completely brought down by Ubisoft and that game. But everything I've seen so far from Syndicate, it looks good. They've cut down on the latency of some of the fighting, so you can maneuver between bad guys a little bit better. And I like the idea of playing 2 characters, where you can pick one or the other. One's more of an upfront, in-your-face fighting guy, and the other one is, his sister, who's more, the stealth fighter. So I don't know. The graphics look good. I like the idea of the carriages for racing and chasing people. So hopefully they don't, screw it up.
Yo,
like
how
they
about
did
the
with
gang
Unity.
fights? I mean,
Yeah.
gangs in New York and London.
Yeah. The Rooks, the gang is called. Yeah, that's
Bill the Butcher,
Yeah.
and cleavers and all that.
yeah. Those top hats are awesome.
Yeah, I'm with you. I need to get Unity under my belt. I haven't touched it. I'm sure it's somewhat fixed at this point.
Yeah.
And I do like the franchise, even though it's another repetitive one. But hey, looks like they did their due diligence on this one and didn't try to put in a bunch of innovative BS and actually focus on the core game. But hey,
Yeah.
you never know.
Well, and I'm also psyched because they have the grappling rope.
Yeah,
think
he's
that's
got
pretty
the
sick looking,
the
yeah.
Batman grapple
Yeah.
now this time.
I like that.
Cool. All right, last but not least, Keith, and then I have an honorable mention, I think.
Well, I was going to talk about the HoloLens, but you hit that already. So I guess we'll go. I mean, almost equally impressive to me was Microsoft's Xbox Elite wireless controller.
Wait
which
till you
is-
touch this thing, dude. I mean,
Yeah.
it feels like $150. It
Oh,
may
thank
almost
God.
be too complex for someone like me.
Okay. Well, all right. So I've always loved playing shooters on a console, particularly on Microsoft's consoles, just because that offset thumbstick stuff just feels right to me. But I do understand that like you lose some sort of control and I guess precision when you're not playing on a mouse and keyboard, and just the ability to lock in your hair triggers, swap out the thumbsticks and triggers and stuff like that, have the paddles on the back so you don't actually have to take your thumbs off the thumbsticks to press buttons. Like, that just makes the guy who's way too fucking competitive at Halo that resides inside me so happy. It's like, yes, I can finally like melee you and teabag and all at once without having to leave myself open and vulnerable because I'm, hitting B when I should be looking around.
Yeah, it's. I feel like it's so damn complex that they're going to almost every developer is going to have to offer some sort of built-in support for it. I mean, like it feels heavy, it feels constructed well, but when you're holding it, you're almost always hitting those little flappers on the bottom, the paddles. It's just like, I mean, I would love for a game to just go and be like, yo, I'm using the Xbox One Elite, I want to use this profile, bam, 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 the buttons are configured, there you go.
Yeah, and I don't know, I feel like it's a piece of hardware that's targeted to a very, very specific audience.
I think, to your point with mouse and keyboard, I think it's almost like a PC peripheral because it is so customizable. There are so many different ways to program it, have it set up. You can rip the fucking joysticks out, the directional pad button, you can rip that out. It felt like something for a PC, and I believe it also works with Windows 10.
Yeah.
So yeah, I pre-ordered it, even though I'll probably smash it, and that's a lot more than $50. But I've done well this generation. I have only bitten my PS4 controller and slightly split an Xbox One controller over Ori and the Blind Forest. So far so good. No destroyed controllers at all.
Did you say you bit your controller?
Oh yeah, I mean,
Nice.
if I bit my finger too many times and it's like I feel like I'm gonna bite through it, I move on to my controller.
Nice.
Yes, I have teeth marks in pretty much every controller I own, for sure. It's just how I roll, man. That's how I deal with stress. Biting myself or taking a fist to my quad, like just bam, 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 bam. And if I get real crazy, I'll punch my temples. That hurts.
I really want to hear about the first time you break one of these Xbox Elite controllers.
I might actually pull out one of my already damaged 360 controllers and kind of use it as like a wrestling doll.
Okay.
Like if I get pissed,
Yeah.
I'll put the good one down and just move to that and start giving it like forearm shivers. And
Yeah, because you'll have to remember
put
the
it into
Elite
a
one
suplex.
is a little bit more costly than the others.
RKO.
Yeah, and this thing, if I threw it anywhere, it would either put a hole through a wall or definitely go right through TV. I mean, it's got some hardcore weight to it. I mean, not to the point where you're going to get fatigued holding it, but it definitely weighs more than the Xbox One standard and the PS4 controller. So.
Oh, good, because I always felt like the standard Xbox One controller felt a little cheap. It just feels a little light to me. But
Still doesn't feel as cheap as the DualShock 4, which is a great controller. I'm not shitting on it. It's the best DualShock controller out there. But that thing, I could literally snap that in half with no amount of force whatsoever. Trust me, I've tested this out. It's stronger than the DualShock 3. DualShock 3 I could almost twist and break. That's how cheap those are. But the DualShock 4, if you put enough pressure on the sticks, it'll definitely split. Where I kind of have to use the ground and blunt force to get an Xbox One controller to start to open up. Yeah, I mean, that's the shit you learn when a psychotic gamer. All right, so before we move on to the disappointment that we each have, I do want to give an honorable mention for most impressive to Bethesda as a whole. What they did Sunday night to kick off E3, this is their first ever official press event. They literally spared no expense. I mean, they rented out the entire Dolby Theater, which is where they host the Oscars and AGT, whatever the fuck that singing competition is. I mean, it is like the major theater right in Hollywood by, or the Chinese theater. Jimmy Kimmel's right across the street. The El Capitan, Disney's theater's right there. So, great venue. I loved the presentation. Todd Howard was fantastic. I mean, I could listen to that guy talk forever. I loved how he pitched
Yeah, but he's more talk than anything.
Yeah, well, I mean, I still think Fallout 4 looks very impressive. All the crafting that they've added into it. And again, all of it's optional. It's not like you have to do it, but if you want to, you could build your entire own town from floorboard to roof, so that's kind of cool. Fallout Shelter, the free mobile game, it's not bad. It doesn't have me as addicted as Marvel Mighty Heroes, which, by the way, this week the top prize is Hulkbuster, bitches. You better watch out for entertainmentboo.com on the leaderboards, because I'm bringing it. I'm bringing it. So, yeah, and the the Doom trailer, holy shit. You want to talk about a violent game? That makes Gears of War look like an everyone, an E for everyone type of game. I thought the violence in that was beautiful. And what really made Bethesda's press conference stand out is the fact that they gave each one of us exclusive mystery minis from Funko. I mean, come on.
They know.
Who else is,
they know the
who
way
else
to your
is
heart.
excited about that? Well, those motherfuckers. I mean, I think it was an hour after the press conference. They're already going for $300 on eBay.
Jeez.
Because the box specifically says Bethesda E3 2015, yada yada yada. But hey, that's
Yeah, I saw the guy listed it for 300.
right. I don't know if they went for that, but that's what people are
Yeah.
asking. And I'm sure there's other assholes out there like me that would probably pony up for it. I'm already budgeting for all the San Diego Comic-Con Funko Pop exclusives that they've been announcing, which I will pay through the nose for. All right, so biggest disappointments. I mean, I can honestly say I wasn't just devastated about anything. Nothing really made made me go, huh? What the fuck? Disappointed that a lot of Sony's reveals didn't give us release dates. I think my biggest disappointment is still that Nintendo believes that they don't have to hold a fucking press event and they can get away doing a goddamn puppet show on a YouTube video. I don't get that logic, because if you guys have ever been to one of these press events, if you could feel the electricity and the buzz that they generate, even if a company doesn't announce anything that spectacular, doing it live and in front of thousands of people just generates more excitement. And Nintendo just kind of giving a big FU to E3 and the press and everyone and doing this Muppet Show bullshit, it's like, all right, well, cool. I mean, what did Nintendo announce that really got anyone jacked this week or last week?
Star Fox.
Okay, I'll give you that. I'm excited for that. All right, we got the
Super Mario Maker. I guess it's not announced though. But
yeah, we knew that was coming, but now we know the date. And okay, I'll give you the 8-bit amiibo for that game. Looks radical as fuck, but okay, that's a toy. You got a new Zelda game.
So you're just saying that Bethesda gets a special place in your heart for giving you toys.
Well, yeah, they gave me one. Nintendo didn't give me a fucking amiibo, did they? I didn't walk away with a little 8-bit Mario. Come on. I mean,
this would be a very different conversation if they did.
Yeah, I mean, if they gave me one, I'd say Nintendo had the best fucking show of the week. So, I mean, I can be bought off with toys.
Yes, there's your ethics right there, baby.
Yeah, I can be bought off with Funko Pops or other collectibles. So I guess that's it for me. I mean, not a lot of release dates from Sony's amazing looking games, and then Nintendo's just kind of like, they literally are on their own island at this point, and they don't give a fuck. They really don't give a fuck. But Reggie's still badass as a puppet.
Not too good at Smash though, huh?
Yeah, Anna was she went to the championships on Sunday before I got down there. I don't know if she got to see Reggie's little deal yet or not, but she was there.
Warner Brothers just took Arkham City off Steam.
Oh!
Wow.
Damn.
All right, for those of you
Hot
that
news.
aren't in the know, so Rocksteady developed the Arkham franchise, right? They've done the two proper games. They didn't do Origins, and they're doing Arkham Knight. But for the PC port, is it Iron Galaxy? Is that the name of the studio? It's Iron.
That is the studio. I don't know if that's who we're talking about.
Well, no, they did do. If it's them, if that's a studio, they did do the port for Arkham Knight on PC, and it has just been a technical disaster. I mean,
rumors are that when they went to quote unquote ship, like to Steam and the other platforms, someone put the wrong build up as the version that became available.
Yeah, there goes an intern's job.
Yeah, so.
Fucking dope.
Yeah,
what an idiot. That is, if that is the case, I mean, how dumb would you feel?
pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean that's called. I mean everyone's saying that what's his name, Luke Smith from Bungie should be fired. This is a little bit more big of an offense than that. So yeah, that's a bummer for Rocksteady because obviously it reflects on them in the end because it is their game, their baby, their franchise. So far on the PS4, it's been fine. I haven't noticed any major frame rate drops. But I guess on PC, at some points, it was running, like 12 frames a second or 14? It was clipping all over the place. It was just a mess. So that's a bummer. Well, 2015 still can't get away from disastrous launches. And this is why, again, I prefer being on a console. Booyah. Even though consoles have shit launches, too.
Yep.
Okay, Ray, what's your biggest disappointment? Or are you kind of in line with me?
Yeah, I don't necessarily have much by way of disappointment. I think it's a bummer that, like, I guess specifically for the PlayStation 4, there's a lot of great games announced, but there's no real exclusive titles that are like on the near horizon.
Yeah, they're like
the horizon near dawn, if you will.
Yeah, this year, like before, holiday
yeah.
season type of stuff.
Which is kind of a bummer to think about. Otherwise, though, like, I don't know. E3 is it's a very exciting thing, and I think they did a good job of exciting people. And despite the fact, like, writing the whole time or not really looking at it as a consumer, I still had a blast watching it, and, there's a lot of stuff that got me jazzed up. So.
Yeah, I think despite all, there were some massive leaks this year before E3, like a ton.
Dude, I don't even think they're leaks.
Yeah, they're probably
go right out and say it. There's no way.
They're probably getting slid out, or a publisher or PR person gets antsy. But I was still surprised by both Microsoft and Sony at their events. So, yeah, good for them. Keith, biggest disappointment?
Probably
that right there.
Yeah, that could have been better. But overall the whole show was pretty sick, but the way and I don't know, the way that EA chose to focus like 40 straight minutes on sports titles really just...
Is that how they did it? Because I didn't get to go there.
It was pretty rough.
It was like 20 minutes on NBA.
I was fine with
and then another 20 minutes on
listen to her.
FIFA.
She's like, yo, I'll take that shit all day long.
They could show me FIFA highlights for an hour. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and like I get, soccer or football, whatever, is the world's most popular game, and they brought out arguably the single greatest player in the history of the game. They sat there and chatted with Pele for like 20 minutes, which if I liked that particular game or if I gave a shit about the FIFA video game franchise...
Mia Hamm was the best soccer player of all time.
She's up there.
Oh, there we go. There it is. There it is.
I'm gonna throw that out there. Even though I actually prefer watching women's soccer. Like the women's World Cup's more exciting than men because they actually score goals.
Interesting.
But yeah,
probably more interesting than EA's press conference.
Well, I was just gonna go like that. To me, that's one of my biggest pet peeves is when these companies bring out celebs that really don't want to be there. They're doing it to get paid, and
like all of Ubisoft being predicated on Aisha Tyler.
Exactly, or like Apple did it with Drake recently at WWDC. It's like, yo, that does not impress regular consumers. If it does, you're a fucking Claudite idiot. I mean, come on. They're just regular people like the rest of us. They're famous, so what? And just, they really don't know what the fuck's going on. Pele, an amazing athlete. Like we've all said, he's up there with, what's the guy's name? Maradona, now Messi, and all these dudes. But he doesn't know jack shit about video games. I mean, why do you think that's going to impress FIFA fans? I mean, like Nick said, you could just show a FIFA video with Messi juggling a ball, and people are like, yeah, I'll buy it. Even though it's going to be essentially the same game with just different rosters like Madden and NBA and NHL. So yeah, that's a good one, Keith. I could get down with that.
Yeah, that conference was so boring.
Did they do anything on Star Wars then, or are they completely?
Yes,
they're like, we already know we're gonna get millions of dollars for this, so who cares?
They did. They did a trailer for the Old Republic expansion, and then the entire time, like they just 2 seconds into the press conference, they're like, "Well, we're gonna end with Star Wars Battlefront."
Oh, so yeah, they wanted to make sure people weren't tuning out. Like, fuck this.
And dear God, that trailer was so fucking good. It was awesome.
Well, I finally got
the
to play
gameplay
it, guys.
footage,
And
whatever.
I finally got to play it, and it's a beaut. It looks amazing. I mean, DICE definitely did their research, like they said at Lucasfilm, and it looked fantastic on local split screen.
Awesome.
Still not a fan of the Zero campaign, but I mean, like, I'm not gonna get the game. So.
Yeah.
All right, and our last one was Mr. Hershey.
I'm kind of in the same boat with you as far as Nintendo. I was expecting a little bit more. It just kind of fell flat for the most part. Like, I want to get a Wii U, but I don't have a lot of reason to.
And they're not giving you many
Right.
reasons to.
Splatoon.
You guys will be you're probably all burnt out of that by now.
Well,
No way, dude. There's so much new content coming.
well, it's funny because I talked to Ray and he's all about it, which surprised me. And then I talked to Justin and he doesn't get what the big deal is with that game, and regrets purchasing it. But
He's the only one on staff that just
Oh,
fucking
he's-
hates it. I mean, everyone that bought it on the EB staff thinks it's fantastic.
yeah,
I literally bought a whole
Yeah.
freaking
He
system
bought a fucking
just to play
console
that
for
game.
it, man. I mean, and he needs his cigarettes too.
Yeah.
So money's dear over there.
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean between
$8 a pack.
between that stuff
No
and
way.
and the lack of release dates, like I really want to know when Horizon comes out and when South Park comes out, and there,
I think Horizon's supposed to be 2016.
yeah, that's I think when we had talked about it, that's kind of what we figured, and we were hoping maybe South Park might be like for the holiday season, but it might get
Yeah.
pushed back. But
Yeah, I could see Horizon as a fall 2016 release, or if it gets delayed
I don't.
in
I would,
early
I would
2017.
bet it'll be early. It might even be spring, just because Guerrilla Games, they've said they've been working on something for a while now.
Yeah.
Before that, so I mean, fingers crossed. That'd be great. They haven't done a project since that first Killzone, and that was like early PlayStation 4, right?
It was one of the only launch
Yeah,
titles.
that was a launch title. Yeah, 2013.
And then they
on-
did a mobile. I don't know. I don't even know if they did the mobile version, to be honest, or the
No,
Vita
they
the
definitely-
Vita
They
version.
wouldn't have. Yeah. They would have shipped that shit off.
Cool. So, well, guys, I think that does it for our post E3 2015 podcast breakdown of the show. It sounds like we were all pretty much on the same page. We all felt like it was a overall pretty great show. I think Sony and Microsoft obviously stood above and beyond most of the other companies. I mean, they probably do have the most money, so it's not a surprise. You should see their booths. I mean, Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft literally almost take up an entire one hall at the LA Convention Center. I mean, they really are amazing to see. So I wish the opportunity on any of those of you that are into gaming that you get to see this one day for in person, because it is. I mean, I'm glad Anna got to go, because I'm kind of a vet at this point of E3, which is nice. I don't get stressed out about it anymore. But just to see her, just excitement as a fan of gaming, and like, holy shit, I'm actually here. I mean, I was happy for her. So good times. We got a lot of good stuff to wait for. I mean, a lot of the Microsoft stuff we will be getting in 2015, so that's a bonus. Halo 5's looking great. Gears of War Ultimate, if you're a Gears fan, I played the beta when I got back. Fantastic. Can't wait for that. Gears 4 in 2016. Tomb Raider, who cares? It looks the same as the other Tomb Raider. But then Sony with all its amazing reveals. Just wish we had some more solid release windows on those. But Sony definitely did a great job as well. So it's still great to be a gamer, everyone, even though this year and the end of last year, things got kind of shitty in industry with all this stupid Gamergate bullshit. But I like what's on the horizon. I like, not too thrilled with Nintendo, but who's been thrilled with Nintendo for probably the past 15 years? I mean, like I said, they don't really give a shit anymore. And they know they're Nintendo, and they're going to do what Nintendo does, which is whatever they feel like it, even if it's not making them money. So go E3. We're looking forward to next year's show. That'll be my 5th year anniversary if I make it out. So until then, you guys know what to do. Get your happy asses on to entertainmentboo.com. click around, appreciate the hard work that I do and my staff does, because we do it for free. We do it for you. We do it for the love of gaming. We're just dedicated motherfuckers like that. So, entertainmentboo.com, hit that bitch on a daily basis and make yourself a better geek one post at a time. Out!